second.
Recording in progress.
Call the meeting to order at 6:31. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Black?
Here.
Commissioner Tinza?
Here.
Commissioner Gadd?
Here.
Commissioner
Here.
Ransford? Sorry. I'm usually not the one doing this.
I know.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Chairman Gadd, by the way, sorry.
Here. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's the other fun thing about Zoom is when it gets chorus going through of it, trying to see.
General public input, limited to 10 minutes, 3 minutes per speaker. We don't have anybody on Zoom, do we, Derek?
I do not.
Planning commissioners disclose conflicts of interest. Not sure what that would be tonight. Entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinza?
Yes.
Commissioner Ransford?
Yes.
Commissioner?
Ooh.
I think I was yes, yes.
Yes.
Chairman Gadd. Okay.
Yes. Motion to approve the minutes from June 9th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
I want to get out of here, Jen.
Roll call.
you're on it.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Tinza?
Yes.
Commissioner Ransford?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
And Chairman Gadd.
Yes. Public hearing, item 2A, Town of Bayfield Land Use Code Amendment. Article 2, Section 2-3, Planning Commission.
Okay, this is third time's a charm. So, you know, we've gone back and forth on statutory, what we can, cannot do. 2 times we've gone through this, come to find out, cannot do. So, this third time, we're going by the book. The changes are, we are still, I mean, one of the main goals was to get rid of the elected official. That is still on there. So we are removing the elected officials, and we are reducing the membership to 5 from 7. So since we cannot go outside of town limits per statute, I'm thinking the best way to get, not only will the 5 lower the quorum to 3, which will make it a lot easier to get business done and get attendance. But yeah, I went over this with our town attorney, Josh Mack, and we spent about 20 minutes trying to poke holes into the statutes, what we can and cannot do. And this is the best we were able to come up with, really, was reducing the number of commissioners to 5, bringing us to a quorum of 3, removing the elected official, and pretty much keeping business as normal after that. So those are your main changes to this that I'm proposing. So yeah, staff recommends approval of the adoption of Resolution 2026-06 to recommend to the Board of Trustees that they adopt and approve this land use code amendment for the Planning Commission membership. I can take any questions. And just to add, the part that got us was the bona fide residents of the municipality. In other words, ones that live here within the town limits, and that's what got us. That part of the statute, you had 3 parts, and 1 and 3 were good, but part of 3 said you cannot, you know, what was it, like notwithstanding part 2. And part 2 was the part that said they got to be in the town limits. So pretty much part two, a statutory town can't make a change on that one. The term's the same, 4 years. October was our, kind of our year ending again. And, yeah. Removing the elected official.
I just have a quick question. Do we approve is there two approvals with it? And then the action item, or the resolution is another approval? Or is it just a resolution approval?
Just a resolution
Okay.
approval, yeah.
That's all I have. Other than that, it looked good. I appreciate you guys taking the time to work through that and get it structured, and hopefully this will help a lot better.
Trying to get it as straightforward as possible and remove any possible conflict. That was my biggest worry when I started here, was the elected official on the planning commission. I'd never encountered that before. And then I read in the statutes, that's how it was. It's like, that's just weird.
Yeah.
But it does give us the power to remove that elected official. In my eyes, I see that as a bit of a conflict of interest. I mean, technically, they can, while I try to have mayor remove himself during the trustee meetings, especially on an action, on a case that he did action on the commission, technically I did some more reading, and he doesn't have to. But I think just to play it safe,
Sure.
that's the best way. Now, getting rid of him from the commission, the best way overall.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Because they're really the review of us. You know, if he's already in the meeting here.
Yeah, he has to recuse himself, can't take action,
Yep.
him or her, they.
They.
I guess with that, I would, I know it's just all good. I would make a motion to approve the adoption of resolution 2026-6, recommending that the board of trustees approve the land use code amendments.
I'll second.
Real quick, Derek, do we need to open and close the public hearing? Or are we good?
Can.
Open, closed.
We'll open
He's
the public
taking the
hearing.
notes.
See no objections, we'll close it.
And we'll still go with that motion. Okay.
Good call.
All right. We ready?
Yep, roll call, please.
Okay. Commissioner Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenza,
Yes.
Commissioner Ransford,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
and Chairman Gad.
Yes.
Okay.
2B, adoption of planning commission bylaws.
Now, for the bylaws, like I've mentioned before, these bylaws were actually drafted and approved by the Planning Commission back in October of 2022, but they were never heard or officially approved by the trustees. So they were just kind of sitting there. Other than this amendment to the membership and a few pieces of wording here and there, there's been no change. I just put those in there. Only change is, like I said, this amendment that we just approved in regards to the code and some wording here and there, like vice chair, co-chair, things like that, just little minor things and some little grammatical corrections. But other than that, it's the same. And you guys have seen this now 3 times.
Being the
But-
bylaw boy, I do have a couple questions. That's what Jim calls me.
Oh.
Everybody has their role. I'm the bylaw guy.
Bylaw guy, what do you got?
I'm still about the remote attendance thing. I'm totally on board with in-person and remote when needed, but we have to be sure there's not gonna be some sort of ADA thing that we have to worry about. So that would be my only question on that, is that, do you have to allow access in order to not get sued? And then the only other piece was quorum. I think when I read this, if we go to 5, it shouldn't be 4 or more members of the commission, it should be 3 or more, since
Yeah.
you're moving to 5.
I can make that change,
Item
yeah.
6. That's it.
Yeah. With, the only piece I did see is in the meeting section, there was one little section that get changed under quorum number 6, it still says 7-member.
Yep, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It should be,
That one.
yeah,
Yep.
so it should say 3 or more members since we're moving to 5, right?
And I can make that change before it goes in front of the trustees. Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. Next section in there. I do have one more question.
Yes.
It talks about the custodial for the planning commission. Who is that person? Usually the one that calls the roll call and stuff. I didn't know if there was an actual.
Could you tell me where that's at?
Let me find that. Cool.
Sorry.
Purpose, principle, membership. Oh, let me get in there. Official action. Sorry, I got it.
Sorry, we got till 9.
Clerk of the commission?
What's that?
Chairperson, term of office vacancies, clerk of the commission.
Okay.
7.
7, yeah.
Let's see here.
The town manager shall designate the official clerk of the commission. And then it kind of tells that's what that person does, so I just didn't know if we had an official person of that.
Wasn't that who usually keeps our
Yeah.
minutes and stuff, though?
Dustin.
That's what I was just
Dustin.
asking, I didn't know,
That-
because I've seen several persons, so I was curious.
So technically, since Emilio does the minutes and all that, it would be Emilio.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, he's the clerk of the commission. The overall clerk, of course, is Dustin. And everything that we have, we give to him for record keeping and everything like that. Be custodian of the commission business. And to be honest, that is a shared duty between Emilio and myself. In conjunction with town manager, shall designate.
So town manager can appoint it, or
Yeah,
just
I
say who
mean,
it is.
by hiring him, he kind of appoints him as, he's, I supervise him. He's technically the secretary, I guess you can say, of the commission. But that is actually, in other jurisdictions I've worked at, it's like, in October when we do reappointments and stuff, chairman, all that, that would be a position, that would be an appointment. So, it would be like, for clerk of the commission, we appoint Emilio Robinson, blah, blah, blah,
okay.
like that. So, yeah, it's pretty much something that, town manager kind of appoints in a way. He really hasn't appointed him, he hired him. And, I'm a supervisor and he usually does. He's in Las Vegas right now, that's why he's not here.
Ah,
And so, yeah. So it's kind of just a title
Okay.
in a sense.
I was just curious, because I've ran into that before with, when it comes to Cora, like that in between, like, since the clerk is kind of the one that has to
Yeah.
get all of that type of stuff, and
Yeah.
I didn't know if we had a formal person of that,
And all of that and everything that we do and all of that really falls back to Dustin.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Yeah, that's all I had, was just, I saw the same thing, yeah.
And Vaughn, could you point me to the part in regards to the
So
Zoom meetings?
it's the remote attendance thing about members being able to attend remotely. Has to be no more than 2 meetings. The chair approves those because it comes before them. And I'm just worried, not worried, there's just a potential that somebody will challenge that at some point.
So members attending via remote video are permitted at no more than 2 meetings. Okay.
You're saying that as an ADA thing?
Yeah.
It could possibly
I mean,
be
the
that.
building's accessible. So, I mean, physically, they could get.
Yeah.
Unless it's a hearing or a visual or something like that. I'm just playing devil's advocate, to be honest with you, because of some situations we already know about, without being too deep in the record. And I'm fine with it. I just think the attorney should be fine with it.
No, I
because
no, I
have
see what you're
no
saying.
Obligation to this. I don't get the town sued.
Right.
The town gets sued.
But does it change when it's like an appointed type of thing? Because, I mean, we're asking for somebody to volunteer. They have access to these bylaws. They're agreeing that they can do these bylaws. We're saying, yes, we want you, and it's not an elected type of
I'm all for
situation.
passing them. I just want to make sure that it doesn't come back and get somebody else.
I'm just curious, if you're volunteering, you know the rules. I mean, that's up front.
Well, I think
So
what
if you
kind of
can't do
gives,
it, you can't really volunteer.
well, I think what kind of gives us a little assistance here is the second sentence where, you know, members seeking a waiver to the two meetings, the two meeting remote attendance shall request a waiver from the chairperson no less than 24 hours prior to meeting start time. I mean, is the chairperson going to say no?
I would think so,
Yeah.
but that's what we have to be on the same page about.
Exactly.
Like, if somebody is appointed and that's what they're requesting, then we need to say yes, or
Yeah.
whoever that person is.
And I remember when this first came in, I think this was brought into these bylaws in 22. And I was traveling a lot at the time, and I'm like, you're either gonna kick me off or you're gonna let me be remote.
Right.
I don't care. But, and so that's when, I think when that other sentence got added about asking for that waiver to get around this. So, I mean, I think it's situational a little bit and looking at appointments maybe and making sure that people do acknowledge that, I guess, when we're appointing or making recommendations to bring people on the commission.
I mean, I think it's
If I'm-
fine.
If I'm understanding that right, if you have a legitimate reason why you can't be here, even more than twice, you can still attend via Zoom.
Correct.
You just have to have a valid reason. You can't be like, cause I don't feel
The
like it
chair
today.
the chair will approve it, is the way I
Yeah.
read these, which
Yeah.
I think is fine, for sure, if it meets the criteria of whatever the ADA thing is. I think we all want to be here in person. I mean, that was the whole thing whenever I applied, is because nobody was here, there was no quorum, that kind of stuff. So we're like, people need to be here to do the work.
Right.
I guess my question is, so are we just talking about the commissioners, or are we talking about the public, worrying about the public? Like, if we don't do a remote phone in and they say, I'm handicapped, I can't come in.
I'm talking about commissioners.
Okay,
I
just the
think-
commissioners, okay.
Correct.
Okay,
I mean, that's a whole different nightmare we don't have to deal with.
yeah. Well, and that's what I was just looking on the top of our agenda, that ordinance that the town must have adopted at some point, kind of hits
Yeah.
that reference
Mhm.
of that. So I just wanted to clarify if we're just talking about commissioners or public.
And I think having the option there kinda covers us, cause we're not saying you can't, we're just saying we would like you to be here in person, but,
But
you
if
have a
you have a
legitimate
valid
reason.
excuse after those two,
sure.
I mean, we'll let you on, but
I just want to make sure it'll hold up to legal
No, I
challenge.
understand.
That's it. That's my only
Yep.
thing. I'm completely on board as long as it would stand up to that if challenged.
yep, I think we'll be
None of us
okay
are
on
gonna
that.
have that problem at this point,
Yeah.
but
I don't,
That's commissioners in the future's problem.
correct.
yeah, I know, I've been here since December, I haven't had an issue. I don't know people before me, but, yeah.
Now, whether or not you can participate remotely, that's a whole different story, cause,
Well,
I was
yeah.
like, is that me? Yes.
Yes,
And
yeah,
there's something to be said about that too, because a lot of times even when, you know, the public's trying to participate on Zoom, sometimes it's hard to hear them, or they got stuff going on in the background.
I mean, yeah, it's all, whatever connection you have, wherever you're at, you know, however your internet is at that location, we can't do anything about that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not gonna beat it up anymore. I think if we're all comfortable, I'm comfortable with it. I'm ready to move forward. The other quorum was the only question I had, to make sure it says 3 instead of 4, because we're going to 5.
Yes.
Other than that, I'm good.
So, and whoever makes the motion, please add the correction to, what is it, number 6,
Number six.
under meetings. And I'll make that correction before it goes to the trustees.
And I don't, maybe a little bit off topic, but Paul's pointing out that ordinance 485 at the top of the meeting minutes. I know I've been to another school board meeting where at the beginning of the meeting, the school board president said we had nobody reach out wanting to talk. So there'll be no public comment during the meeting. It just set the stage right there. So I don't know if it's something that we put out with future notices that, to point that out, but it just kind of set the groundwork at the beginning of the meeting at that school board to. nobody
And that's
else
just
was
over
gonna
Zoom,
talk.
right? If they are just want to participate over Zoom?
Correct.
Okay.
And actually, I think the way that school board was set up, even if you want to talk in person, you have to notify them within 36 hours, but.
Yeah, I worked at a
I think we stick with the remote piece of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I worked at a jurisdiction that did that at one point. Just, yeah, give a heads up if you're coming in to talk, and you'll be given your time.
No.
Yeah, 'cause public participation, I mean, sometimes people just hear about things at the last minute.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to be there, I just wanna hear, and they get caught in the moment of the excitement of the planning commission.
But I completely agree. If somebody, if that's the case, show up here and participate.
Right.
Yep.
But remotely, let us know.
36 hours, yeah. You can shoot me an email over the weekend, it pops up. So, yeah, I'll know, but yeah. Okay, I'll make note of that.
I'd move to approve the adoption of resolution number 2026-07, recommending the Board of Trustees approve the proposed planning commission bylaws with the correction to line 6 from 4, or 3 to 3 instead of 4, and 7, 5 to 7. Yeah, remember that.
Good job.
Instead of seven.
Well done. Smooth.
Second that on this side of the room.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Tenza,
Yes,
Commissioner Ransford,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
and Chairman Gaddy.
Yes. Item 3A, July 28th, 2026, Planning Commission Work Session Discussion Topics.
All right, I slipped this one in here because we're going to start doing our work sessions. Commissioner Tenza had a really good idea about adding an extra meeting for me. So, so yeah, during these work sessions, we'll try to keep it about, hour and a half or something like that. Maybe come up with a couple topics, 2 to 3 topics, because I'm sure we can get to talking on each topic and go pretty long. So kind of try to limit it a bit, but, for this, just draw out some topics. It can be, of course, more than 2 or 3, and we can kind of stretch them out through future work
Yeah.
sessions. The plan was to hold it here, 6:30, same time, right? It's not, I don't have to notify it or anything like that because there's
No
not a
action.
public hearing. It's just,
and we don't need a quorum.
don't need a quorum. No, if you want to show up, show up. If you can't, you can't. It's not anything forced, but the public is free to come as well. Throw in their 2 cents. So I just have this agenda item on there right now just to throw out some topics. I'll write them down and we can go to town on them. I mean, I'll send out an agenda for it, but there won't be any packets or anything
Should be like a-
unless, something comes up and we can throw some information that I've been asked to gather. for
So we'll
instance.
go back to why I asked for this, okay? And we kind of talked about it a little bit before the meeting started, but now we're on the record, so to
Oh,
speak.
yeah.
It's, so that as commissioners, when you come on this commission, none of us know everything about all the regulations in town, all the things that go on in town, maybe except for Paul.
Make
And-
a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, and so this would be more of an education for the commissioners on various topics that you may not know anything about. And like I said earlier, I said, a map or maps of all the ditches within the town limits.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, but I guarantee you, none of us know all of them. Even Bucky probably doesn't know all of them.
Nope.
And these
Paul
come
does.
into play when we have developments that start
Yeah.
where, like Mustang Crossing, that whole thing with the ditches up there and what happened and how were they? So I think the more we educate as commissioners, the better off we are as stuff comes up, we know where to look. We know to ask questions. If we don't even know anything about it, we're in big trouble.
Right.
So that was kind of the reason for there. And I would encourage just to do one topic per meeting.
One topic per meeting?
None of this is super critical, but again, the more educated we are as a commission, the better we can make decisions or ask questions as we go forward. And that's what the commission's all about, is to really not necessarily 100% rely on staff, but now you got 5 other people thinking, let me think that through. And that was the purpose of my requesting a, what do we call them? Work session.
Well,
Well-
go ahead.
Oh,
No,
and
go.
so are we gonna be able to kind of bring up some of the stuff also that we don't like in the codes and stuff? Kind of start working on some of that
Yep.
stuff as well at these? Like, one of the things I'd like to change or see changed is the stormwater drainage, how we don't look downstream. I think
Yeah.
that's caused a lot of problems.
That was
And-
the other one.
And in our
Yeah.
codes, we don't have it where it says
Right,
that.
right. And we were talking before the meeting, and I couldn't remember the stormwater thing, but I remember it had, in my mind, it had to do with, okay, stormwater, that's good. How do we get it to the river where it's supposed to go when we don't have the infrastructure in town for it? And we don't have that because we don't have an advocacy for it, and that's where the planning commission should come in.
The other one would be the new wildland fire resilience.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that we've got going on. That one would be a huge one to try to start working on and get in front of, I think.
Yeah, I've just literally talked with the, because after it was approved at the, the second reading at the last trustee meeting, I got an email out to the state, and, we've been, I guess you could say, okayed since we got it passed before the July 31st deadline. I've been working with that Blue Mountain group that's supposed to go through and look at our maps, and just kind of a side note, I want to talk to Commissioner Black here at the end. Apparently, you guys have some information that you guys did with Upper Pine, that maybe we can do some information sharing to kind of make this a little bit quicker and easier for everybody involved, so. But he's going to, the gentleman I'm working with, Blue Mountain, he's going to get back to us a new proposal because they've reduced the number of models, or, I don't know, it was pretty confusing understanding, they're trying to understand what they do in a sense, but they're going to come back with a new proposal with less models that they use to make it easier, quicker, more focused on the area involved. But all that, the wheels are moving on all that. It's, it's in motion. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Once I get that proposal, once we can get to okay, I'll get them the information that they need, and hopefully they can get to work as soon as possible on getting us a updated map, so that we can then we have to submit the map to the state for their approval. So there's some hoops to jump through, but we're jumping through them.
Well, and I'd ask Derek, when I first came on, like, take a little road trip, right? If we can get together and do like the old, the old field trip, like, let's go look at this stuff, not just hear about it, so that, we can wrap our heads around it. I mean, that would be super beneficial to me.
Yeah.
I know what I hear, I know what I see, but neither one of those necessarily means I know what I should know.
And that was another thing that, not so much to the work session, but a discussion that we have as a commission is, we really, as commissioners, pretty much should be going, when we have a project come before, we should be physically there looking at it. This was, when I was on county, this was one of the requirements they had of the commission members, because you would look at the packet, and then when you went there, you go, this doesn't look anything like the pictures. Now, the pictures were actually taken, but you didn't get the perspective of it, or, something didn't, you saw something else. And I think it's important as commissioners that we do the job we should be doing, and sometimes that means you have to go look.
Well, and I need somebody to, draw me the picture, because I went up to Mustang Crossing, I'm like, eh. Like, here's a house, here's, people walking their dogs, I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah. And you don't realize how far back it goes.
Correct.
I tried to do that on one of the very first cases I had here. It was, what was it? I think it was the arena rezone. But I went out, took pictures and all that, and I tried to put a presentation. So the technology that we have currently just isn't there.
Yeah.
It was kind of a pain in the rear to, cycle through on doing my presentation and everything like that, and because that's what we used to do. I mean, every case, we go out to every location, take pictures, look around, put a PowerPoint slide together. We have the zoning, the surrounding zoning, the pictures on there, go through the recommendations and all that. And again, I tried to do that the first trustee meeting, I think it was, that it had for that, and it just wasn't working. So maybe once we get our microphones updated, and our computer and our technology updated, I can start doing that more, because that's what I'm used to doing.
I would like to point out, though, that like with certain projects, we should probably be a little bit mindful of private property and those kind of
Absolutely.
things, though, or, seeing if we can get together with whoever's wanting to do the development and make sure it's okay. We don't want to just show up and just walk around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
no, that's the thing is, I try to do my best to stay on the public right away. When I
Right.
take pictures and things like that, because that's one of my things, I don't wanna go on private land, no, no,
Right.
no, I don't wanna get in trouble. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that was one of the things in the county is you could not go on private land. You'd had to do it from a public
Yep.
area. Now, having said that, I had a couple of times where I'm standing there looking, and a homeowner or property owner come, what are you doing? And you'd say who you were and what you were, come on, let me show you. And they would show you around, and they would show you details that weren't even in the report of what they wanted to do. So it's a kind of a
Just
Yeah.
buy-
Case by
should we
case
just buy
basis,
some drones? Just buy some drones.
Yeah,
It
that's-
seems to be the wave of the future.
we can't get microphones that work with those drones.
Slow down,
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
baby steps.
During these work sessions, can we talk about specific projects that are coming up?
See, that was my question
Or are we
process
gonna
wise too,
be-
is how do we interact with the community? What is on and off
really.
limits? Like, how do we manage
Well, I don't know
that?
why we
We
wouldn't,
do-
because it's open to the public. So
I
they're,
think to play it safe, we need to keep these work sessions to certain topics and not,
Projects?
discuss possible projects that might be coming down.
So like drainage is one, right?
I mean,
know
we can,
that's-
yeah, we can definitely talk about
Stormwater,
drainage.
general.
Yeah, stormwater,
Traffic.
Bayfield Parkway, I mean,
Yeah.
I've only been here 6 meetings and I've heard it 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was gonna say stormwater and traffic is probably two really big topics
Yes.
Yeah.
that we should, and there's a lot of things happening with, like stormwater, that I've been trying to work to figure out, because it's been a no answer scenario for years now. And I'm kinda throwing some Hail Marys out there, and the state's like, well, that could maybe work and stuff, but it's essentially that would help us with like that new resilience code.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a dry basin except for when it rains, but the Mustang Crossing's a perfect example. They still have irrigation water rights.
Yep.
Why can't we make that a pond and have capacity, but we augment the stormwater and evacuation, so the state doesn't care if it gets released downstream? We have a fire suppression pond, which is new, so we could put a hydrant in it, so we have water to fight a fire there. And if I'm a developer and you get to have like an actual live, nice pond, I think that would be an attraction for your subdivision. And then you can, if we can augment it, you can irrigate the whole subdivision, the yards, the green areas. So it's outside the box, and people kind of look at you crazy, but I'm like, why can't it work?
No.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And some of it is to come up with ideas that, I mean, we know that the town council's view and the town staff's view is, it's sort of a box. And our job, I think, is to sort of throw stuff at the box that's not in the box and make them think and make them look forward and say, well, I guess we could talk about, it. Yeah, maybe, we never thought of that, that kind of stuff. I mean, we're really an extension of the town
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I mean, really the town council, not town council, I'm sorry, the planning commission, you throw out the ideas and you can have me present the ideas to the trustees to see if the trustees want to go forward with it. For instance, I mean, just a simple, example would be a code amendment.
Right.
All right, you guys have specific things that you want to do to code, okay, I'll put something together, I'll present it, to the trustees, like, should staff, look into this more, and do something, yay or nay, then of course I bring what I hope would be a finished project or a product, other than, 3 times in a row there. But I bring that in front of you, you guys go through the process, and then everything's a process, you have to go through different stages. But another thing that I don't know if it'll happen anytime soon with the makeup of the trustees and how they're used to things, but you guys, the commission, in my opinion, and as a planner, have the most important job or role once it comes to cases, public hearings, everything. You guys are the ones that are supposed to take in all the information and then produce, conditions or whatnot in regards to the case. And then you make the recommendation to approve for whatever to the trustees. And technically, the trustees, it's almost like a consent agenda type thing. You
Right.
guys should have it so nailed down to when it goes to the trustees, it's like, okay, blanket approval, Like I said, other jurisdictions, and they've been larger jurisdictions, don't get me wrong. I mean, they did the same thing in Minturn as we do here, once it comes to planning commission hearing and then town council hearing. But in larger jurisdictions, that's how it worked. Planning commission does all the dirty work, gets everything all ironed out. And then when it's time for it to go to the council of trustees, it's approve or deny, whatever the recommendation is. So,
And they get paid. Just think about that.
yeah, right?
Is that in our code or is that statutory?
In regards
So
to,
like how our process does kind of work, like it's gotta go to the trustees first to be approved to be heard, then it goes to planning commission, then we approve it, and then it goes back to trustees. Is that,
well, that's, I mean,
I think it comes to us first.
once it comes to a land use case,
yeah,
it's here first. So if I get an application for, let's say, a rezone,
yeah,
it gets heard here first,
okay.
yeah.
So
And
like
then you,
my annexation though, I had to go in
see, that's the thing, annexation, man,
different.
that's a whole different
Yep.
deal there.
different piece, okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right.
that's a whole different deal. Normally, other than annexations, if it's a land use case, so, like I said, I'll use rezone as an example. We'll take the case in, and, it'll be heard here first. You guys make your recommendation. You don't put conditions on, zone cases, just saying. And then, yeah, it has to be heard by the trustees, and they make the final approval. Use by reviews. Now, for use by reviews, again, it'll come here first. You guys make your recommendations. Use by reviews, you can put conditions on use by review, yes. Now, what's unique about the use by review, as we've seen, is normally I'm sorry, let me go back. After the planning commission makes their recommendation, there is a 10-day period, we call the protest period, after that day, after that recommendation's made. Now, if I don't hear anything, no protest or anything been filed, then after that 10 days, then the decision of the planning commission, that recommendation is considered final, and it doesn't have to go to the trustees.
Right.
Now, like we had with the private school, Hope Christian, there was appeal. And so for the final decision, then has to go to the trustees. Now, it's supposed to be within 30 days, but since we had issues in regards to quorums and stuff like that, conflict of interest and all that good stuff, it took longer. And despite what some of the applicants or the appellant thinks, we weren't sitting on it. It was working with 2-3 lawyers that went through during this whole time to see if we can get this ironed out so we can make this legal, we have a quorum, and we're good to go. That's why it took several months. Because again, small town, y'all talk, and it gets out, and people notice, and if you are on the trustees especially, I have trustees that councils that I've been with, is pretty much, just keep it to yourself. Take in information, yeah, that's fine, but don't give your opinion, Even if it's like a public meeting that I guess they did one or two of over there with the arena or whatever. Don't even attend. Don't even go. Don't give the appearance of yes or no. And so that's what kind of got us in trouble with the Hope Christian Academy. That, and it seems like half of the trustees lived up in Dove Creek or Dove Ranch or wherever. So, and that's a small town issue. I didn't have to deal with that in like Wichita or anything like that. But it's just, as a trustee, you're not trustees, you're commissioners, but as a trustee, if you guys feel like being a trustee later on, just be quiet, especially when you have a pretty good feeling something might be coming down the pipe.
The other thing we could do with these work sessions is, I know we've said this several times since I've been on the commission, is, you go, our code says what? That makes no sense. How the hell did that get put in there? Well, it was from the year 1830.
Right.
Is we could, as we find these, or members, we discover them, we can talk about them.
Yes.
Is it something that we can change?
Yes.
Is it something that makes sense, but you just don't realize it?
Yes.
You know, that kind of stuff. And that's, again, expands the role of the commission to be more thorough, more involved in the town.
Proactive instead of reactive.
Bingo.
Well, and I think it's helpful going to those projects, because if it's a person that's gone through the process and they're like, this thing hangs us up every time.
Right.
It's the dumbest thing in the world, and then we can analyze it and see, you know, because if we're not doing projects ourselves, it's hard to kind of see
Right.
that. You can read the code 100 times and you're like, and until it affects you in a certain way.
Right.
So I think that should be a big piece, and I think as we do some of these work sessions, like with the stormwater and traffic, we're gonna probably have some amendments for the code.
Yeah.
And like you said, kind of have all that dialed in, the reasonings why, and then when it goes to the commission,
Yep.
hopefully it's just kind of a simple stamp.
And as long as we have, and I believe that this commission is very proactive. I've seen other commissions where they were, oh, okay, you know, that kind of thing. But this one is very proactive, and that's a good thing.
That is a
That
good
means
thing.
we can actually get stuff done. We've talked about why certain code things never got changed. Well, nobody picked up the ball and ran with it,
Right.
you know?
I do have one quick question. You were just kind of talking about all the processes of like annexation, zoning, and is it weird to ask, is there like a cheat sheet for, that we could just see each one of those? Like, this is how the process goes for annexation, this is how. it
That
goes.
is actually something that I want to do. I want to
Okay.
put together like a cheat sheet, not only just for you guys, but for the general public.
100%.
You
Yeah.
know, I,
That would be
like,
great.
Education is
like
key.
flow charts and stuff like
Oh,
that,
mhm.
and that is something I definitely want to do. And it's on a list of things that I have.
I just feel sometimes in the meetings, it's like, it's supposed to be this way, but then it gets off on these way different tangents, that it's like, well, that's not even what it's supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Right, well, then,
Go to.
for sure, I mean, that's half the battle, right? When people are arguing over the things that we can't change, or it's not even applicable to the process, it's hard to shut people down, especially when they're,
Yeah,
you know,
passionate.
And I mean,
correct.
look at
Because,
this,
like
look
I-
at this
like I just
commission.
mentioned-
Brian's the only one that's got experience of any length. The rest of us are relatively new.
Yeah.
So we're still learning.
Because like I just mentioned in regards to the difference between the rezone and a use by review is, you know, use by review, you have certain uses that are in certain zones that can be approved by use by review because they might be a little bit more intense than what, you know, it would be generally permitted. And that's why you put conditions on it to lessen the impact, I guess you can say. But it can still be placed in that particular zone. A rezone, you cannot put conditions. It's either this or that. It's either going to be business or industrial. I don't know, I'm just throwing something out there. And I know that people in the past, I think I saw one case in the past that there was some kind of conditions put on a rezone, and I was just like, that's a no can do. I mean, no. Because the thing is, it runs with the land.
Yeah.
So if you do a rezone for somebody now and put a condition on it, then let's say it gets sold 5-6 years from now, whatever. Then the new owner has to go by those same conditions,
Right.
even though that condition was for that specific use.
Right.
Whether if it- you know, so that's a whole different ballgame there. Again, I'm gonna bring up Wichita again. What we had is, yes, of course, we had the rezone, but there was another instrument that we had that was called a protective overlay. And so with a rezone, we could put this protective overlay on the rezone that would limit uses or, you know, make some changes to like setbacks and stuff like that. So that it was a certain overlay. Now, that overlay could be amended, you know, in the future and stuff like that. That, again, just an idea, maybe for the future, you know. I don't think we've really ran into that in this town yet, but, you know, something further down the line. But, I mean, there are ways around it. But there's really a lot of things that you can do. I mean, my whole thing is to try to make development, I don't want to say easy, but yeah, easy, because we, you know, we want proper planning. We want proper development. There's just some places within town that, yeah, that should be there, and vice versa, you
Right.
know, so.
I think that's what we were talking about, is like, sometimes the use by review is so broad, then it shouldn't be. It should be like, this is what it is, here's your box, yes or no, not a rezone, but at least clarifying, because use by review, in some of those things we were looking at, it's anywhere, it can be anything. And
Yeah.
it shouldn't be anything.
And the use by review is by the use, so the applicant has the use in mind. That's what they're, you know, say is school. Then you can make your conditions or whatnot specific to that, specific to traffic, specific to, well, here, traffic and drainage, you know? Technically, through a use by review, and I'm starting to finally get used to calling it use by review, it's conditional use. Let's give the arena for an example. You can set the hours of operation and things like that on that with a use by review. So there's a lot of different things we can play with once it comes to some of these instruments, I guess you can use in planning. So, yeah, we can have whole lot of discussion once it comes to a lot of this stuff. And if I wanted to, I could talk your ear off, but I don't want to right now.
Well, but that's good though. I mean, we need to, so that we're kinda up to date on some of
Yeah.
this stuff, cause like Jim said, I don't think right now we're all the way there.
No. Not all the way there, and the thing is, I'm not all the way there, and you're never gonna be all the way there. But it's always a learning process. It always is. And it's almost like a snowflake in the sense that there's like no two things that are the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all case by case. You're running into something different every time.
Well, I think, kind of to what you had said about, you know, not wanting to say, I wanna make development easy, but I think we're in a scenario here in the town that we could really be a shining light in this county, that we can make a process that we do development really well.
Right.
And we do growth well, and we make the process favorable for development, because I don't think the town has passed a bond or a mill levy for several years, and really our only option to get some of these storm drain stuff is to kind of build our way out of it.
Right.
Hopefully get new revenue coming in from the new growth.
Right.
Or how hard Denver makes it, right?
Yes.
So, whatever they plan, and I'm not a part of that, once it comes to
Yeah.
any possible tax votes or whatnot, I can't speak on that, because that's above my pay grade. But, you know, once it comes to like grants and things, we actually had a discussion earlier today, with staff, like, keep your eye open. You know, if there's grants out there, jump on them. Because most of the grants that are out there, you can find something to use them for.
Right.
You know, and you can get stuff tied into them and so forth, so.
And a lot of the times you could use a grant application that got approved for something and just modify it and get it approved for another thing, because they're all looking for kind of the same structure
Right.
in your grant applications. A specific word here, a specific word there can change, but the generic flow is key. I mean, when I was on a wildfire advisory committee, we got all kinds of money. I mean, one year we got 4 different grants. People said, how'd you do that? We just applied, we just modified what we already knew was gonna get approved, changed it up, because know what they're looking for. And do specific wording to that. But the town, you know, who writes the grants applications here?
I believe it would be Kathy and John primarily. So, you know, they write and they look for them. I've been looking more now, especially for like the intersection, you know, trying to find some extra money here and there, since that's been going up in price, but.
Well, I think there's a little bit of cross with some of the other organizations. I mean, we, Upper Pine, were very interested in that intersection, and we were looking at grants, so we did a bunch of studies so we can even get more money for it, you know, and I think just simple calls back and forth, like, I don't know how our chief does it, but he comes up with money.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did you pull this from?
Yeah.
But
He's
he,
good.
you know, and so he would write grants that would open up more money for other grants, knowing, and, you know, I would love to see a little bit more of that communication back and forth, and maybe
Oh,
that could be.
I agree. I mean, I think the town of Bayfield and Upper Pine work really well together, but, you know, it can always be better. I would really like for the town to be able to work hand in hand with the ditch companies, because I know there's some back and forth in some cases, but, I mean, we're all really working towards the same goal,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, in the school district too.
It's school, exactly, the
I'd
school
love to
district,
see
yep.
A little bit, we're all kind of jumping at the same pools of money and fighting. I'm like, man, if we work together, we could probably get a little bit further down the road.
Yep.
100%.
I think, I don't know, do you need on that aspect of the?
Don't really need
work
any
session?
action or anything on that. I was just kind of writing down some things while we were talking, and, like Jim said, yeah, we could probably talk on one topic for a whole work session, so. And I've got some topics here, and, if we go dry during a work session, we still got some times, like, okay, traffic issues,
Right.
just do something like that, so.
Or the whole reimbursement, bylaw thing,
Yeah.
we could, yeah.
You think we have money?
We're gonna get some of that grant money.
One of those checks in the mail.
Exactly. You can owe it to me, though. You can owe
Yeah.
it to me.
Is there like conferences and stuff for planning commission?
Yes.
And things like that, and I just didn't know if that's something the town will be supportive of.
I would be more than happy to talk to John about getting something like that, organized, send a member or two to conferences. I know, the one I just know off the top of my head is APA month or yearly conference. I don't know exactly when it's towards the end of the year, I believe. Usually up around Denver, Longmont, and all those areas. But they usually have like a week-long conference. I'll look into that, actually, for commission members.
That's a great
'cause I
point.
know
And-
there's,
And even if the town can't foot the bill, I mean,
If we
depending on
choose to
where we're
pop
at,
for ourselves,
correct,
yeah.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to get too educated because they can hold me accountable.
Yeah, just enough to.
There you go.
I know that John and Trustee Lyon went up to, was it CML or something like that, conference a couple weeks ago, and, yeah, Commissioner Lyon, I'm not Commissioner, Trustee Lyon, he learned a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I can
I
look
went
into
to a
that.
water conference one time, and it was up in Denver. And it was, I wanted to learn about the whole water rights issue thing, but I got there, and it was like 1,000 attorneys.
Oh.
And these guys were talking about stuff that was like 12 feet above my head for what I was looking for, but I learned a lot. You just sort of absorb stuff, and you realize, we're down here, and here's the upper level. And, or we're doing pretty good considering, kind of thing. So,
Right.
yeah, that would be a good thing. And
Okay.
again, it comes down to commission members that are dedicated. That's the key.
Exactly.
And I think with these work sessions, I mean, just the idea of talking about it to educate the people who are in the room,
Yep.
because again, we all think, everybody thinks they know what they know, but we all don't know.
I know everything.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, I'm not a conference, but I was thinking the work session in October, so that would be the last Tuesday in October. By that time, we'll have another member. We'll have already, done the appointing of chairman, co-chairman, clerk. But I was thinking then would be a good time for a workshop. Use that time for a planning commission workshop, something I've been wanting to do, but there's been a
Right.
lot of flux and a lot of just
Something local.
crazy stuff going on, so trying to catch up on stuff
Yeah.
that's been sitting back and.
Well, who's leaving? If you said we had another member, there's only 5 of us. Okay, I knew, that's what I thought. Okay.
When is your term up, or?
October.
October,
Oh, it is,
yeah.
okay.
So,
So it won't be an appointment, it'll be
no, we'll have to get one more. Yep, one more
So
person, so,
they'll apply and then we'll make a recommendation.
same thing that we
And,
did, yeah,
Hmm.
for you guys and Commissioner Black, so.
thank you for all your time. I know you've been on this thing for,
Been a while.
yeah, a career, right?
I think it's on 8 years. Wow.
2 terms,
So,
yeah.
Oh, I like it. Been a library trustee for 9, and I still don't know how to read.
Book on tape. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it's all pop-up books.
But you got your fines waived, so.
Yeah, hey, there's a perk to everything.
So gentlemen, that's all I got.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Side of the table.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's normally how the meetings are, right?
Yeah, and I like these ones. No, it's not.
Dream on.
That's
Yours
what I
and my
thought
first
until we got in
meetings,
there.
man,
I'm
we got
like, man,
thrown
the
in the
room's
lion's
full and
den."
everybody's pissed off at me. And I haven't even